Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the last Mental Health Awareness Month video on my channel. Even though it's really fun and really important to talk about these things, it has also been quite time consuming and energy consuming because I really wanted to give you correct information, and even though I tried, of course I failed with a couple of things, but I'm still learning, so sorry. Don't be too mad. Yeah, it's been quite a bite making this many very informative mental health videos, but I've been really enjoying it. It makes me really happy that you've been enjoying them as well. But today we're taking it a bit more chill. I haven't done research for this video. I only asked you for questions about mental health that you wanted to hear me answer, and now I'm just gonna talk. Let's get to the video. The first question I'm gonna answer was actually a DM that I got. Why I started making these mental health videos in the first place, why I wanted to talk about these, and why I wanted to make a whole month just mental health videos. And I think that's a really good question, and I really wanted to answer that here. Personally, I've always loved learning about mental health. I think maybe about 5 years ago I started developing stuff. About 2 years ago I reached for help and got it. Now I just felt ready to talk about all of this. I just really want to help people and want to tell everyone that it's okay to have issues and that it's okay to seek for help, because some people don't have friends who are as supportive and lovely as mine are. I thought I could be that person, that friend to someone who might want to seek for help but isn't sure how to do that, isn't sure is it normal to have mental health issues. I think it's pretty common. I mean, watch my previous videos about mental health if you want to hear about that. I just personally, I was very interested, and I really want to make this topic a non-taboo. I think it's still a big taboo. I want to be one of those people who is breaking that and showing people that you can live even if you live with a mental illness. The next question is pretty difficult, but I'm gonna try and answer it. How to prevent yourself from getting depression? This is a really complex question because depression is something that can be kind of more chemical and scientific in your head, because depression is a lot about serotonin and other hormone levels in your head, and some people can be just born with lower levels of serotonin. I think, is it a hormone that is in your head and then it just basically kind of makes you happy, I think? I don't know about chemicals and science, so I'm sorry, I can't really tell you that. But some people are born with less, like smaller levels of that. That can mean that they get like depression. At least I have one friend who has this kind of depression. But for some people it can be more about circumstances. For me, I think it's more about circumstances, your life, how it is right now, how much changes there is. It's a lot of stuff. And there is never just one reason for depression. I'm not really sure how you can prevent that, but I think self-care, like taking care of yourself and practicing positive thinking, can be really big things that help you from preventing any mental illness. I talked about prevention and self-care in another video, I'm gonna link it here, but I'm not a doctor. I don't think I can tell you how to prevent from getting mental illnesses, but I think that self-care and positive thinking, and I don't mean just trying to be happy, but just like practicing that, okay, this glass is half full rather than half empty, is a big key factor. That's what I've always tried to do. It's really complicated. I hope there is a doctor in your life who can tell you more about this. But yeah. The next question is, how do you deal with sad days that are sad days for no reason? Actually, this is a really good time to ask me this, because the past couple of days have been definitely worse mental health days for me. How I've dealt with it have been dancing, even if I didn't want to. I went to take a ballet class, even when I felt like I wanted to stay in my bed. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna see people, I'm gonna get out of the house, and I'm gonna dance, which I love. It helped for a while and it made me feel really good. I also went dancing on my own the next day, because dancing and getting out of the house are a big thing for me, especially when I have a bad day. But otherwise, what I've been doing, I've been on social media way too much, so I wouldn't recommend that. If you like TV shows or YouTube videos, I mean, that's what I do. I've watched a lot of YouTube. More specifically, I've been watching a lot of Sofia Newgard, but she just makes me feel really good. Just really good. Yesterday, I was in my bed for 3 hours, and half of that time, I was watching her videos. The other half of the time, I was talking to my friend via my phone. Talking to people definitely helps. Telling them that you have a bad day helps. I cuddle my dogs all the time. Like, I hug them all the time. I actually filmed a clip of me during my really, really bad mental health day cuddling my dog, and it's here. I cry a lot and talk to my friends. And I journal, and that is something that my therapist has told me to do, and she's always really happy when she hears that I write. It's kind of like getting that stuff off my shoulders. Just writing, okay, I had a bad day, there's no reason, yada yada yada. That's how I deal with it. I don't know, does it help? But on those days, nothing really helps. So I just try to make myself feel better somehow. Next question is, do you have any tips on how to deal with perfectionism? I'd love to ignore my perfectionism once in a while, but I don't know how. When I read this question, I thought I'd have a proper answer to this, but now when I'm thinking, I don't know, do I? I'm definitely better with perfectionism now than I was maybe a year ago, or definitely 2 years ago. Getting good grades was definitely something that drove my perfectionism to the roof. Even though my family has never put any pressure on me, they've just always encouraged me to do my best. But what I think was my best was like 110%, even though 100% is the full amount. Having people around me who tell you that you're good enough already and your best is enough, and then telling those things to yourself are really helpful. And a thing that really helped me with perfectionism was realizing that I only compete against myself, even though our system can kind of put people against each other. But just know that you're here for you. I think I know the most about perfectionism through the school system and studying, because that's where I was really, like, a really crazy perfectionist. And I talked a lot about these things with my best friends, who were way more okay with worse grades than I was. So I was like, yeah, I don't have to be the best at everything. I can tell that in math I just sucked. Usually I got 5, 6, or 7s. The worst grade is 4, so you can tell that I wasn't really good at it, but I was okay with it because I still passed all the classes and all the courses, so that was fine. I was proud of myself. I don't have to be the best at everything. There is someone else out there who is more passionate about it, and I can just strive for my best in the things that I care about. I hope that helped. It takes time, but you can do it. This next question is really interesting. It is, how does auditioning affect your mental health? I know for some people it's this stressful, very nervous experience and moment where everyone's like competing against each other, and it's like this wild animal zoo where the best one wins, but I don't see it that way. Auditioning affects my mental health very positively. I think this is where my positive thinking comes into play. I think about auditions that they are these amazing possibilities that I get. I am all about possibilities. I talk about them all the time, and my friends are always like, yeah, Vilma is talking about possibilities again. But that is something that means a lot to me, and I have this really strong feeling that I will make it at some point. Like, I know it. I know it in, like, deep in my soul that it will happen. So that brings me comfort about going to the auditions, and I just go and have fun. I love performing so much. It gives me a purpose when I'm at home, because every time I go to an audition it's always in another country. I always feel like I can kind of prepare for it, so I go and dance more, practice smiling, and I practice like all these like movements and stuff. So I find it really helpful for my mental health in a way, which might sound weird because it's like this audition, it's and who knows, maybe my opinion changes later because I've only gone to 2 auditions, and when I get more frustrated because I'm not casted, it might change. But yeah, I think it affects my mental health really well, and it's pretty much the only thing that I'm really sure about. Like, I know I want to do this, I want to try at least, so I think that's the one thing that my mental health issues haven't being able to touch. I rambled a lot about that, but I hope I answered your question. And then we come to the last question of the Q&A. Could you tell a bit about your experiences with depression? Well, I think I can. So for you who haven't heard, I have mild depression. I have a very mild medication for it, and I see a therapist because of it. It is much better than it was a year ago, and a year ago I didn't have a diagnosis. I only got a diagnosis around end of July, early August last year. And to say here before I talk about my experiences, every person is different and everyone's depression is different, so I can only really talk about my experience. You might be experiencing everything totally differently, but this is just how I experience it. For me, it doesn't affect my everyday. Sometimes I have worse days, aka the past 2 days. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't affect my life at all, and the only thing reminding me of it is taking my medication in the morning or seeing my therapist. She just makes life better. For me, depression makes sleeping a bit difficult. I find falling asleep a bit difficult. Working out really helps with falling asleep. Sometimes I might wake up during the night just really quickly and maybe fall asleep. Usually I fall asleep. It can take your appetite away, and sometimes it does that for me, and I really have to remind myself to eat. Especially last year, it drove a lot of anxiety and I had troubles with breathing and calming myself down and making my brain go quiet. My brain is still a very lively place. It's not as bad as it used to be. It is definitely not a fun illness, and the bad days really are bad. This was really uncomfortable, but when I was having a really bad mental health day, I filmed a couple of clips of me on that day with the really dark cloud of depression over me. This illness, even when it's mild, makes you want to hate life. I'm empty, but in a negative way. I'm like a O-, not the blood type. The number 0. You put a minus before it. That's how I'm feeling. The tricky thing with these mental illnesses is that you look totally okay. I don't have a fever, I don't have a flu, my leg doesn't hurt, but I don't feel okay. At all. I don't want to feel tired for no reason. I've been laying here for 3 hours, but I'm exhausted. And I should take on my makeup off right now and go and take a shower so I could go to bed. But as you can see from my eyes and hear from my voice, that's clearly a no from my mind. Here we go. Even though filming that was uncomfortable, I am not ashamed of my illness, and I hope I can get rid of it. Who knows? If not, I definitely will find ways to live with it. Yeah, it's not fun, but it's definitely something you can live with, especially when you have amazing people around you. Okay, those were all the questions you sent me and my answers to them. You all are so amazing, and in the words of one of my favorite people on this planet, Brendan Urie, I really appreciate you. Thank you for existing. I love you very much. In the words of me, I think I'll see you next Sunday with a very fun video. Bye!